This is another deep dive on the CR Imposition podcast. Today, our mission is, well, it's a reality check. We're looking at the autonomous enterprise, specifically Agentforce. The narrative out there is electric. We're moving from a system of record to a system of action.
It's a great story, a fantastic marketing story. But for the people actually building this stuff, the executives, the architects, the honeymoon is definitely over.
Right. We need to get past the vision.
And talk engineering reality. The core question for today, the tension we're really digging into, is can Agentforce actually scale like a normal flow or a bot?
Sure.
Or are all these hard limits we're finding, these numerical caps, actually deliberate?
Yeah.
Are they zones of deformation built to protect the whole multi-tenant architecture from, the sheer strain of this thing?
That's the perfect way to frame it. So let's start right at the core with the biggest constraint, the cognitive bottleneck.
Yes.
This isn't just simple automation anymore. It's a whole different level of resource consumption, isn't it?
It's an exponential jump. I mean, think about it. A traditional flow is predictable. It goes from A to B, done.
Linear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But agents, they run on the react pattern. Reason, act, observe, and then the critical part, they loop.
And that loop is expensive.
Incredibly expensive. Every single turn in that loop is a full, costly round trip. You're calling the LLM, you're going through the trust layer, maybe hitting an external database. It's not just adding steps, you're compounding latency.
And the numbers on that latency are, frankly, shocking. Your standard chain of thought interaction might take, 2-3 seconds?
Maybe. But with these complex React loops, the data shows P90 latency just skyrockets. We're talking 11 to 15 seconds.
11 to 15 seconds. That's the scalability killer right there.
It is. It's fundamentally incompatible with anything high volume or low latency.
Like real-time voice.
Forget about it. You can't have a customer sitting in dead silence for 11 seconds while an IVR thinks. It just breaks the entire experience.
And that looping, it doesn't just eat time, it's a resource drain. You run the risk of an infinite retry loop, right?
A huge risk. If the agent gets stuck on some ambiguous goal, it just keeps spinning its wheels, burning credits, burning compute.
Which is invisible to the user.
Invisible to the user, but painfully obvious to the person paying the bill. It's why every single complex agent needs aggressive, built-in circuit breakers. You have to cap the loops, not because the platform forces you to, but because your budget demands it.
So the engine itself is under strain, but that strain is also managed by a set of, platform-imposed guardrails.
Yes.
Let's talk about those. Specifically, the limit of 15 topics per agent and 15 actions per topic.
This is where the idea of a single, all-knowing super agent just completely falls apart.
You can't build one.
You cannot build a general-purpose enterprise agent to handle HR, IT, and sales. It's architecturally forbidden. If you try, the classification logic gets so diluted that your hallucination rate goes through the roof.
So this isn't just a practice, it's a mandate.
It's an architectural mandate, and it forces you into a very specific pattern, a multi-agent system, the swarm architecture.
Explain that. What does that look like in practice?
You have to build a router, a greeter agent. Its only job is to figure out the high-level intent. Okay, this is about an order. Then it dispatches the entire session, hands it off to a specialized order management agent in the swarm.
That's the only way to do it.
It's the only way to get enterprise scope while respecting that 15-15 limit.
But that handoff, agent A to agent B, that's not frictionless.
Not at all. You introduce orchestration latency, and you create a huge risk of state management failure. If that initial context gets lost in the transfer, the whole session fails.
And this all ties into what you call the determinism paradox.
Right. We need these systems to be deterministic. We're processing refunds, updating ledgers. It has to be predictable.
But the core engine is a probabilistic LLM. It's based on chance.
That's the paradox. And the platform solution is these 5 levels of determinism, which essentially means you tightly couple the agent's actions to something predictable, like a flow or an Apex class.
So the agent does the messy language part, and the flow does the actual work.
Exactly.
But here's the thing that gets me. The more you chain it to a deterministic flow,
the more you neuter the agents.
Right. You're stripping away its core value. If I have to predefine every single path, why did I need a generative AI in the first place?
You've just built a very, very expensive menu-based chatbot. The agent's real power is handling the unexpected edge cases, the stuff that doesn't fit the flow. It's a constant trade-off between risk and relevance.
Okay, let's pivot to the agent's memory, to data cloud. Without it, Agentforce is basically lobotomized, right? It needs RAW-GUI to function.
Absolutely. But the constraints here, they might be the most restrictive of all.
Let's start with the big one, the vector search limit.
It's a hard stop. 16,000 results.
16,000. I want everyone to just think about that number for a second. A huge company, petabytes of documents. And if the single most important answer is result number 16,001,
The agent never sees it. As far as it's concerned, that knowledge does not exist.
so the burden shifts completely. It's not about the AI anymore.
It's about your information architecture team.
Mm.
You can't just dump data in. You need meticulous chunking, precise metadata filtering before the search even happens, just to make sure the needle you need is in that tiny slice of the haystack.
And what if you're trying to migrate a big legacy knowledge base?
Well, good luck with that. The ingestion limit for unstructured data is 3 gigabytes per day.
3 gigabytes, that's microscopic.
It is. A standard 1 terabyte library of documents, which isn't even that big for most enterprises, would take, nearly a year to ingest. It's an architectural non-starter for large-scale migration.
Which brings that zero-copy promise into question. The idea that we can just query Snowflake or other data lakes on the fly.
Zero copy is fine for simple things. Show me my last order.
Duh.
But for complex reasoning that needs multiple queries, it's incredibly risky.
Why?
Because of the tight 30 to 60-second timeout window on the Atlas reasoning engine. The network latency alone from a federated query can blow right past that timeout, and the whole session just aborts.
You have to bring the data closer.
You have to.
Okay, let's talk about the mandatory cost, the performance tax of the Einstein trust layer.
It's a crucial piece of security, but it's also a latency hog. Every single interaction has to go through this sequence.
What's the sequence?
It's PII masking on the way in, the actual call to the LLM, a toxicity scan on the way out, and then PIID masking before it gets to the user. It's step after step after step.
And that all adds up to that 11-second latency we talked about.
It's a huge contributor, which again brings us back to voice.
A total non-starter. You need sub-second time to first audio for it to feel natural.
So teams are forced into a trade-off. You either aggressively optimize, maybe use smaller models, or you start thinking about circumventing some of the trust layer steps.
So it's maximum security or a natural user experience. It's hard to get both.
Very hard at scale. And then there's the economic volatility.
The new pricing model. It's not per conversation anymore.
No, it's $0.10 per action, which is 20 flex credits. This is causing massive TCO headaches.
Because an action is opaque.
Completely. A user asks one question, but that react loop we talked about could trigger dozens of unseen actions in the background. A poorly designed agent won't just fail. It can literally drain your corporate budget in an afternoon.
So this creates a need for a whole new discipline, AI FinOps.
You have to have it. You need real-time monitoring of actions per session. Efficiency is now a financial metric, not just a performance one.
Let's talk about the human side of this, the two big risks you mentioned, jagged intelligence and work slop.
Jagged intelligence is just the variability. 1 minute the agent is a genius, the next it's incompetent. You can't build a reliable SLA on that. But work slop, I think, is the bigger threat to ROI.
Define work slop.
It's the low-quality, verbose, sometimes just wrong AI output, a bad case summary, a hallucinated log that forces a human to spend more time cleaning up the AI's mess than it would have taken to just do the tasks themselves.
So you've actually created negative productivity.
We've inverted the entire ROI equation.
Exactly. And the most terrifying operational risk, the self-DDoS attack.
It's genuinely frightening. These agents are autonomous, but they still hit the same platform limits as humans, like the omnichannel queue limit of 200,000 pending records.
So in a crisis, a product recall.
If your agents are designed to just autonomously create thousands of cases too quickly, they can saturate your own queues, they DDoS your own human workforce, and legitimate customer chats just start getting dropped.
And if the agent fails and has to hand off to a human, that's another friction point.
A big one. The full chain of reasoning, the why, is often lost. The human just gets a raw chat log.
So they have to start from scratch.
Unless you explicitly design for it, you have to build an action of summary that forces the agent to synthesize what it tried to do and why it failed, and inject that summary into the case before the transfer. It's not automatic.
So let's pull all this together. The marketing vision of infinite scale is, well, it's dangerous.
It is. Scalability in 2025 isn't about the LLM. It's about the unglamorous, rigorous work of architecture and data hygiene.
So strategic takeaways for our listener, what are they?
First, embrace the swarm architecture. Now, stop trying to build a monolithic agent. Use a router and specialized agents. It's the only way.
Second, data cloud is not a dumping ground. That 16,000 vector limit means you have to treat it like a curated library. Knowledge-centered service principles are mandatory.
And finally, you have to implement financial guardrails. Monitor actions per session like a hawk. AI FinOps isn't optional, it's essential for survival.
Which brings us to the closing thought. The critical question has shifted, hasn't it? It's not, can the agent perform the task anymore?
No. The real question is, can the agent perform the task 10,000 times an hour without hallucinating, without blowing the budget, and without paralyzing your human workforce?
That jump from a cool demo to enterprise-grade throughput, that's everything.
It is. And to stay ahead of these architectural shifts, to hear these topics broken down without the hype, you really need to subscribe. Join us on the CRM Position podcast to understand the real state of the art, not just the marketing.
We will continue this deep dive into the practical economics of the autonomous enterprise next time.